Well, another computer that I own and use a lot is this MacBook. This is the early 2009 white MacBook. I'm going to sign in here. It has the same desktop that I use for everything. A friend of mine actually made that. This one. It's a 2 gigahertz Intel Core 2 Duo with 4 gigabytes. Well, it came with the original 2 gigabytes, I bought it in the, this is the memory that I took out of it, I believe. PC3. This also may be the memory that I took out of the Mini. I don't remember. I grabbed this because I thought it was PC3. I think that's DDR3 actually. Well, I have the memory that came out of this somewhere in a tray like that. I think that's not it. We'll see. But this came with 2 gigabytes and it was not nearly enough. You can put up to 8 gigabytes in this. There's still a sort of a debate about whether it actually uses all 8 or only 6. Because for a while, the most it would recognize and use was 6, but some people have successfully put 8 in there. It seems to be working fine on 4 at the moment. But when this one came out, when the replacement for this, the mid 2009, which was identical except for it had a 2.13 gigahertz or 2.16 gigahertz, something like that, processor instead of a 2. And then it also had 800 megahertz RAM instead of 667. One thing that they used the same exact chipset, so I, of course, thinking I couldn't use anything else, I bought a 4 gigabyte labeled 667 megahertz upgrade set, which had two chips in it. I put it in there, and all of a sudden it was 800 megahertz. Turns out that on both the early and mid 2009s, you could put either in there and it would run either properly. So you could make, so really it actually has 800 megahertz RAM, so that was nice. This was the first MacBook to use the NVIDIA integrated graphics, and it has an NVIDIA chipset instead of the Intel, so it was actually a huge improvement over what was before it. We'll go in here. This is, again, I know I mentioned in another video that I just put a new battery in it. It has 1 battery cycle because I calibrated the battery. This changes every time I open this up. Again, I talked about the graphics. This one also has a 3 gigabit per second serial ATA bus, which was I think the first one that had that. Of course, a super drive, I don't think they even offered anything other. I have since put a 640 gigabyte hard drive. This is the factory 120 Yeah, 120 gigabyte drive, which there was another early on replacement. Within the first few months, I had replaced the hard drive and the memory, which is easy to do on these, very easy. Unlike the new ones where the RAM is soldered to the motherboard. I don't really like that. I mean, I suppose that just makes you order the maximum it'll take, but I mean, still, I don't know. Still gonna end up sticking with Apple just because I prefer I think they're good computers and I've had nothing but good luck with them, but they're doing some things that I find annoying with their hardware. What else can we do? What else can I show on it? Of course, it came with all the applications. Of course, I have CS6 on there. All the newest. I always update everything. Of course, Minecraft. All the good and interesting things. Came with Leopard, and now it's running Mavericks. What else can we show? I guess we could show the restart time. It's a fairly fast hard drive. I have not upgraded to a solid state drive because I have too much, well, at least for the longest time, I had too much stuff for a reasonably priced one, and now it's just kind of, still just don't feel like spending the money on it. I mean, you can get decent high-speed ones, but they're still just a little more expensive, and this works just fine. I don't really have any complaints, so it's kind of like, why bother? But, well, I suppose that's the whole point of it. I still have, obviously, the box, the original sleeve. It was shipped in. Who uses this? I mean, I immediately put this cord on it and took that thing off. That's all the original restore discs and everything, even the receipt. I bought it at Micro Center on sale. For grand total of, this is some rebate no one bothered dealing with. I was supposed to get a $50 rebate on top of it, but the mid-2009 had already come out, and these were $150 off. I had been looking at MacBooks. I wanted a new laptop, an Intel MacBook. I'd been looking at used ones for like the $750 to $800 range. Considered them, and then I just happened to log onto their website and drool over the new ones, and I saw they were on sale for $850. Barely more than the used ones with the inferior graphics chipset were, so I grabbed it. I bought AppleCare with it. I think total with tax ended up being about $1,200, but it's been worth it. It's been honestly a great laptop. Of course, I have this. I use that mouse with it. Originally, I bought this one to use with it. I used that until I bought this one. What made me upgrade was that you can do the forward and back swiping on this for browser back and forward, so you didn't have to I'll show you on this one. I keep this turned off because I've been using the Magic Trackpad. Don't need to show my password. Basically, here we are on Facebook, but you swipe backwards. we go. Swipe backwards and you go back, swipe forwards and you go back forward. Rather than that option was not available on this mouse. That was the sole reason I spent the money on that mouse. To me it was worth it, and I don't regret doing it. Of course, this MagSafe I think is the best thing ever. I guess my preference for the Apple tend to be little things like that. Another thing that I strongly prefer, and I've not seen a newer Windows laptop that's made this way. There are no vents on the bottom. Most laptops, you set this thing on the bed, on your lap, on a blanket, on the couch, whatever, and you block off the vents, and they get really hot, and of course it can damage the thing. Again, I know I mentioned this in another video, but just for the benefit of the people who haven't seen it. This is the new battery. It's a genuine Apple. It's not a generic one. I wouldn't touch those, but plastic is. I suspect this battery was actually made after they discontinued this machine, so the plastic is just a bit different. Again, get a look at this. I haven't cleaned it, so these feet are a little dirty. That's as dirty as they get. There are, if you look in there's scratches. I mean, it's kind of unavoidable. That's the worst of them. The top, there's nothing, but just a few, whatever scratches that come from sliding it in and out of the case. Which is, I bought this. It's actually a 15-inch case, but it fits just fine. Fits all of my crap. It's nice and fuzzy on the inside, so it really doesn't scratch it up much. And this is how I always keep my laptop. Everybody's always shocked at how clean this thing is, but I don't touch my screen ever, so it never gets fingerprints on it. I don't touch this with dirty fingers. If my hands are dirty, I wash them first. And I'll eat around my computer, drink, eat food, snack while I'm using them, and it doesn't mean that it's going to be dirty. Just don't be a slob. That's pretty much it with keeping these clean. This is just how I keep it. I'm proud of my stuff. I don't, treat it poorly.